من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام والتحية والإكرام على سيدنا وعظيمنا وحبيب قلوبنا والشفيع نفوسنا أبي القاسم محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وأهل بيت الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين الصادقين المظلومين المنتجبين المنتخبين الذين أذهب اللهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام والتحية والإكرام على وصي مصطفى عبدك ووليك وأخي رسولك وحجتك على خلقك وآيتك الكبرى والنباء العظيم أبا الحسنين مولى القونين إمام الثقلين يأسوب الدين سيد المتقين رأس المحسنين سلطان الأولياء أمير المؤمنين أول المسلمين أسد الله الغالب غالب كل غالب مظهر العجائب علي بن أبي طالب. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. الحمد لله الذي لا يحسك حجابه ولا يغلق بابه ولا يرد سائله ولا يخيب آمله. أما بعد، فقال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم: من عرف نفسه فقد عرف ربه. Brothers, sisters, respected elders, scholars, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. You find over the last 2 nights we have discussed attachment. And what we've realized from the last 2 nights and the conclusions that can be drawn from the last 2 nights is that we should only attach ourselves to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and through the rope of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala we should attach ourselves to the signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, namely those individuals that we follow and commemorate here tonight. And indeed through Him, the Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the merciful and the beneficent, because of Him we should also have an attachment to our family members and even the material world. You find over the next 3 nights we'll be looking and discussing the topic of reclaiming the heart. Because the reason to why we are attached to anything is because we have our heart within it. And you find Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala many an occasion talks about the heart within the Holy Quran and speaks about how the heart has become blind and how the heart has become hard. And in order to understand the heart, first and foremost we need to understand ourselves. And that's why you find that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam he has come forward and said, Man arafa nafsa faqad arafa rabba. We've all heard this before, and the translation of this is very simple, that whoever knows himself knows his Lord. And when you ask many people the question as in, who are you? Many people will come and define themselves through their work, through their religion, through their culture, maybe even through their titles, for example, Sayyid or whatnot. You find many people will describe themselves, but they will not get to the crux of who or what they actually are. And you find that today's discussion looks at finding out the basics, and over the next 3 nights, the next 2 nights including this one, you'll find that we will look into depth on each aspect of the human self. So tonight could be argued as an introductory lecture in the sense that what we're going to look into is looking into the human self and trying to gain a basic understanding on the self. And moving on from there, why is it that the self that we follow is not on the path of salvation, rather on the path of destruction? So you find on the first level, when you look into the human self, we are made up of 2 parts. The first part is tabi'ah, and the second is fitrah. But the human self is made of 2 parts. The first is tabi'ah and the other is fitrah. Let's look into what this is. See, tabi'ah, when I come and say tabi'ah, what I mean is that animalistic self that we have. And the fitrah, for definition purposes, we will say is the inspired or godly self. So you find that the human being is made up of 2, the animalistic and the angelic or godly. See, the animalistic part of the human self is basically all those basic things that you do. For example, you eat, just like the animals eat. You reproduce, like the animals reproduce. You drink water to survive, like the animals drink water and survive. You build your homes, like the animals build their homes. You find that you pillage and you, for example, go out to hunt for food. Our hunting, for example, is driving our car and going to Tesco nowadays. But you find that the animals hunt their food in the old ways, where they would actually go out and attack other animals. And you find that this is where we are similar to that of the animals. And the fitrah, or the godly or inspired self, is that self that looks at your moral code. That, for example, if I'm eating meat, am I eating meat every single day? That where's my moral standard? That are we killing animals every single day? Are we throwing away food when other people don't get it? That are we drinking and eating too much? See, this is what your fitrah is. Your fitrah is there to keep you in check. Because anything that you do within your life which is too much will take you away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And therefore, if anything takes you away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then that thing, unfortunately, will take us away and we will not be allowed to enter the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And therefore you realize that Islam, when they talk about Islam, they say Islam is the most natural path. Yes, it's a natural religion. Why? When you ask many people in the crowd today, and I say to you, brother, does it feel natural to wake up for Fajr prayers? He'll say, no, it doesn't. So, brother, is it natural for you to pray 5 times a day? Say, no, it doesn't feel natural to me. So, brother, does it feel natural to you to do certain religious acts like fasting? So, no, it doesn't feel natural to me. I feel tired and hungry. Of course it's not natural. And you're right. Because Islam does not focus on that aspect of tabi'ah. Because tabi'ah tells you what? Tabi'ah tells you, do not go near pain. Make life easy for me. Do not go near suffering. Make life easy for me. Because tabi'ah within itself, you find tabi'ah, when you look into it, has 3 main things. To seek pleasure, to flee pain, and to fight to survive. And you find the fitrah will say to you, no, go towards pain. Why? Because it will help you. It says move away from pleasure. Because the more you move away from pleasure, the stronger your body and your iman will become. Say, Muhammad, give me example. Very easy example. See, brothers and sisters, when you go to the gym, yes, when you start the gym for the first time, you realize that first day when you push yourself so hard that your muscles are aching, the next day you can't even brush your teeth. Your body is saying, bro, don't go back to the gym ever again. Don't look at the gym. Sometimes what it is after that first day, when you look at the gym and your muscles begin to hurt, isn't it? So you find that your body is telling you no. But your godly instinct is telling you no, go towards the gym. Fight your nafs. Move towards it, because at the end of your principles is a promise. And at the end of your emotions is nothing. And therefore you find that each aspect of this fitrah is pushing you towards becoming a better version of yourself. But we as human beings, we do not like confrontation with ourselves and with others. And why is it that continuously we are going towards the path of destruction? It's very simple. It's because we have confused tabi'ah and fitrah, isn't it? That we have confused it. That instead of focusing on fitrah, we focus on tabi'ah. We are so focused on our animalistic self, yes? We're so focused on it, isn't it? You find the brothers here are more focused on their external than the internal. Yes, sometimes you look at brothers' Instagram, in the mosque, mashallah, most religious person, and the Instagram brothers' hair swinging one way, yes, and the pose is swinging the other way. And you think to yourself, mashallah. But the focus is all wrong. People will ask you, you know, what is your styling gel? Yes? Whoa, how do you do this? How do you do this filter process? Tell me your secrets. Because we're so focused on the animalistic self. We're focused on this. We're focused on the body. When was the last time we focused on our souls? You ask the brothers and the ladies, you'll ask them, right? They'll tell you about their morning routine, night routine, face mask routine, exfoliation routine. Yes, I use, for example, shampoo, then I use conditioner, and then I use God knows what else. So focused on the animalistic side, so focused on our physical self. And you say, what was the last thing you done for your soul? What was the last thing you done for your soul? When it comes to prayer time, within 1 minute we've finished a 4 rak'ah prayer. Brother, sister, how long is your makeup routine and all your routines? Say, wallah, in the morning 45 minutes. In the evening 1 hour minimum. Yes, and what about when you go to weddings? Oh no, not weddings. Don't talk about weddings. 1.5 hours I'll take to prepare. Minimum. How much time do you take to prepare for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? How much are we focused on the fitrah? When was the last time, instead of giving people talk about this self-love, yes? Everyone talks about nowadays. Oh yes, I spend my time, I give myself self-love. Yeah, when was this you gave your soul some love? When was the last time? That when you pray, you're thinking about something else. When you fast, you're thinking about food. When you're doing Hajj, wallah, I went to Hajj. I've been twice. I'm not lying to you now. You see people talking on the phone. Yes, brother, no worries, I'm doing ta'af now. You see another one Snapchatting. Yes, ta'af time. You showing Allah, you showing people. What are you doing? And you know the funny thing is, one picture will be, for example, a picture with Hajj, bold, mashallah. The following picture will be somewhere, with lights sparkling in the middle of the night. I don't understand what people are doing. Pick a path, pick an avenue. So you find that this is what's happening within our societies. We are so focused on this, and I'm not saying, don't get twisted. I'm not saying that we shouldn't focus on these things. Because even looking nice is a part of Islam. But where is your main focus? That you're so focused on looking good, that you're so focused on the physical self. When was the last time you focused on your soul? There's a question that we have to ask ourselves. Because the reality is, if we are tabi'ah driven, then we are focused on our body. And if we are fitrah driven, then we are focused on our souls. Many people ask me, they say, Murtdha, why is it that, I can't resist sin? Or tell me of a way where I can stop sinning. Tell me the way. I say, brother, for particular sins you need to seek counseling. You're asking the wrong person. That's the first thing I say. And the second thing is that truly, if you want to heal yourself and you want to resist sins, then you need to disidentify yourself from the body. So what do you mean? What do you mean disidentify yourself from the body? It means that you need to realize that this body that you have is just a carrier for your soul. I'm sure many of you have seen the movie Avatar. You've seen the movie Avatar. See, the word avatar itself is actually from the Sanskrit language and is from the word avatara. That's the actual word. And do you know what that means? What it means, avatara actually means that when a deity goes from a higher position to a lower position. Understand the point? From a higher position, it descends to a lower point. When Prophet Adam was removed from heaven, he was descended to a earthly realm, a lower place than heaven, right? Likewise, each and every one of our souls here tonight was taken from a higher plane to a lower plane, that is our carrier here today. That this world, this body that you have, just for understanding purposes, this is an avatar. And you are here being tested. So Muhammad, why do we get tested? Why? The same reason you get tested in school is not for the teacher to see where you're at. No. You got to misconstrue. It's not for the teacher to see where you are. It's not even for giving you a chance, brothers. No. What is there for is for you to understand where you are and how much you need to improve. Why do we have mock tests? That you'll find in year 9, 10, 11, A-levels, you always, before the real exam, you get a mock test. Why? Because if you're getting D's and E's, that mock test is not there for the teachers and your friends to take the mickey out of you. No. It's for you to realize that, listen, you're in this position, this is where you need to be. Likewise, the test that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives you on this earth is for you to realize that, listen, you are here, this is where you have to be. That's why Imam Hussein salawatullah wa salamu alayhi, what does he say? He says, do not sell your souls cheaply, because they are worth no less than paradise. They are worth no less than paradise. So everyone who succumbs to any sin has sold his soul for less than that which is paradise. And you find that you'll get trials. Trials will come upon you like they came on the prophets. Prophet Yusuf was tried with Zuleika, isn't it? That when Prophet Yusuf, he was a slave in Pharaoh's house, Zuleika tried to do an illegitimate act with him. But he moved away from her. Yes, he moved away from her. What did he say? He says, إِنَّ النَّفْسَ لَأَمَّارَةً بِسُوءٍ إِلَّا مَا رَحِمَ رَبِّي. that yes, the soul is inclined towards evil, except for the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, does that mean the soul is inherently evil? Na'udhu billah min dhalik. No. The soul is pure. The reason why it becomes evil is because of our actions. That they say every time you sin, a black spot comes upon your soul. So what we realize here is that because of our deeds, we are inclined towards evil, because we've trained our soul to become evil. Now when we train our souls to become evil, at that point we need to ask for the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then he says, إِنَّ النَّفْسَ لَأَمَّارَةٌ بِالسُّوءِ إِلَّا مَا رَحِمَ رَبِّي, except for the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we have to gain that mercy. How? That mercy, brother, is not given, it is earned. It is given, not earned. It is earned, not given. So you find, what must we do? First and foremost is, we must go towards those things that will bring us closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Amir al-Mu'mineen says a beautiful line. He says, after the sweetness of disobedience is the bitterness of obedience. Isn't it true? Tell me that's not true. When you eat for 11 months in the year and then you don't eat, how hard is those first 2-3 fasts? It's bitter, isn't it? It's hard. When you don't pray Fajr, those few weeks, I tell you, when you start praying Fajr, they're the most bitter things that you'll ever taste in your life. But everything in life starts bitter, but the more you do it, it becomes sweet. Isn't it true? That those of you who have been gym, you'll know that the first time you eat broccoli, you think, what is this disgusting piece of thing in this life? I hate broccoli. I hate cabbage. I hate all of these things. Give me sugar. But then after a while, when you keep eating broccoli and you try different recipes, you realize, you know what, this broccoli actually tastes nice now. Why? Because you have to become used to that thing. You have to throw yourself into that thing in order to gain the pleasure from it. Each and every one of us here tonight know that Salat al-Layl, for example, will bring nur on our faces. That some of the benefits of Salat al-Layl is that it will bring nur on your face. It will also what? It will also give your sweat, you know, the sweat that you produce, it will give it fragrance, according to the 6th Imam. Each and every one of us know this. How many of us have prayed Salat al-Layl? Oh Allah, even Fajr we play probably 15 minutes before its time. The thing is, it's not that we don't know, it's that we're not willing to go through the hardship in order to see the treasure at the end. And that's the story of our lives. Those of us who have started keto diet and after 1 week we stop. Those of us who had a dream of getting a six-pack, after a week we stop. Those of us who want to, for example, get the big muscles, we stop after a week. Those of us who want to stop eating, for example, I don't know, some sweets, we stop. Because we are not strong enough. Why? Because we are so tabi'ah driven. We focus on our animalistic self so much. And that is where shaitan gets us. Isn't it? That's where he gets us. Do you know what shaitan's main tool, main weapon is against the human being? Do you know what it is? It is something called aporia. I don't know whether people know what this word means. But aporia is the expression of real or pretended doubt. Real or pretended doubt. So you find when you look into something, shaitan's biggest weapon is aporia. Why? Why is this his biggest weapon? I can give you an example. Amr ibn As, what did he do? in the battle of Siffin, he raised the Quran on spears, and he said to the army people, we are raising the Quran on spears. And what did the army of Amir al-Mu'minin do? They revolted against Imam. They went to attack the Imam. They said, how can we fight? They put the Quran on spears. By creating doubt, by creating shock, what does it do? It creates a sense of identity crisis. It creates a self-chaos. Now this creation of uncertainty leads to control, doesn't it? What did Umar ibn Sa'ad say to Abu Abdullah? Abu Abdullah said, I will give you land in paradise. What did he say? He turned around and said to Imam, he said, I do not know whether there is a paradise or not, but I know that Ray is there. Why? Shaitan created aporia within him, created that doubt, created that mistrust, and that led to control. This is how Shaitan controls us. Sometimes when you want to do a good deed, what does Shaitan say? What does he say? Sometimes you want to give charity and he turns around and says, what will your wife say? Yes. What will she say? Are you willing to take the earache from her? Sometimes it happens. Sometimes it can be what? It could be something else. You could be going towards prayer and Shaitan will turn around and say, did you do wudu properly today? Did you? And then you'll think 100 times in your head, did I? Sometimes even within prayer, am I in the second rak'ah or the fourth one? Was I praying Fajr or was I praying Qaza? Was this a 4 rakat salah or was I praying Maghrib? Shaitan will put these thoughts in your head because he's creating doubt. He's trying to take you away. But brothers and sisters, don't think that shouldn't stop you from praying. So I remember someone asked a Maulana once. I remember this, I was there. He asked a question, he said, Maulana, you know, every time I go towards prayer, I don't know why, every time I go towards prayer, I always think about something else. And the Maulana said, what do you think about? He says, I think about various things. I think about my business. I think about my lost things. And he goes, okay. He goes, Maulana, you know, sometimes I pray 2 rakat salah because I lost my keys, and then I don't know, in the second rakat in Qanut I realize where they are. And the Maulana says, MashaAllah, it's good that you're praying. I'm happy that you're praying at least. But he dropped this one liner that I'll never forget in my life. You know, he turned around and said, he says, young man, continue praying and continue remembering the things that you've forgotten. So Maulana said, why? If I'm not thinking about God, then why? And he turns around, you know what he says? Maulana turns around and gives the most beautiful reply. He says, keep praying and pray until you can't pray no more. You know why? Because you forget everything, don't you? You forget your keys, you forget where you put your wife, you forget everything. He goes, one day you remember that God that you forgot as well. So carry on praying, don't worry about it. So you find that in each avenue you can be positive. This aporia, yes, it's going to happen. Yes, doubt is going to enter your mind. But do not stop trying to get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The more we focus on our fitrah, and we'll talk about fitrah in the next 2 nights even more, and tabi'ah more. Obviously we don't have much time. But you find that when you focus on fitrah, then aporia, doubt, a sort of misconstrued self-view will begin to diminish. The more you focus on your fitrah. And that's why you'll realize, if there was anyone that would, in my opinion, that I look at Islamic history, that should have had doubt about this religion, then it's the one who suffers the most, isn't it? The one who suffers the most usually has the most doubt, isn't it? If you realize that those who suffer the most, sometimes either they become the most religious or they become Those individuals who just can't hack it. And therefore you find, tonight we remember the sons of a woman that was given a title by her grandfather as al-Masa'ib. Al-Masa'ib. Do you know what that means? That means the mother of sorrows. Imagine, Prophet Ayub saw sorrows. Prophet Yusuf saw sorrows. Prophet Yaqub became blind. But no one said he is the father of sorrows, isn't it? But you find that this lady, she's called al-Masa'ib. Do you know why she's called al-Masa'ib? Because only when she was a young girl, she saw her mother crushed behind the door, isn't it? Lady Fatima, she was crushed behind that door. When she grew a little bit older, you find that she was the one wiping the blood from the bed of Amir al-Mu'mineen, al-Masa'ib, isn't it? That this al-Masa'ib, you know what she saw? She saw Imam al-Hasan and him coughing out his liver because of the poison. And then she saw the arrows piercing the body of the second Imam, and she would take out some of those arrows from the body. And you find when this al-Masa'ib, this lady Zainab went towards Makkah from Medina, you find Abdullah was her husband. Abdullah bin Jafar al-Tayyar was the husband. And when she was about to leave, Abdullah went to Abu Abdullah and he began to ask for permission. He said, "Can I speak to my wife?" And Abu Abdullah turned around, he says, "I respect you so much, Abdullah, that you do not need my permission to talk to your wife, but yet you give me the respect." He goes towards Lady Zainab and he says to her, he says, "Zainab, where are you going?" She says, "Abdullah, I'm going with my brother." And he turns around and says, he says that you know you won't return. She begins to cry. She says, "Abdullah, if you want me to stay, I will stay. But without Abu Abdullah, I will die." I ask you, Lady Zainab, then what happened to you when you saw Abu Abdullah's head being cut in front of you? I ask you this question. What must have you been going through? Abdullah says, "No, Zainab, I'm not here to stop you, but rather to tell you." So what do you want to tell me? "I want to tell you that if you are going, then take On and Muhammad with you. And if a time came, then sacrifice On and Muhammad." And you find that day came of 10th of Muharram. And the sons of Muslim were given in the way of Abu Abdullah. Do you know why Lady Zainab's sacrifice is great? Do you know why? Have you ever thought why? Many of you are Sayyid here, aren't you? I'm Sayyid, you're Sayyid. Many people will say, "I'm from the line of Abu Abdullah," isn't it? "I'm from the line of Hassan, Imam Hassan. I'm the line from Imam Zain al-Abidin, from Imam Muhammad Baqir." People will say, "I'm from the line of Ja'far al-Sadiq." People will say, "I'm from the line of Musa al-Qazim, from Imam al-Naqvi. I'm from all of these lines." Have you ever heard anyone say, "I'm from the line of Sayyidah Zainab"? Have you ever heard any Sayyid from the line of Sayyidah Zainab? Do you know why? Because she gave her whole progeny in the way of Abu Abdullah. On and Muhammad, they were only 9 and 11. I ask you, there's 9 and 11 years old here. Imagine these 9 and 11 year olds going to war. Do you think they'll be able to go to war? Do you think they'll be able to fight any battles? No. You find that On and Muhammad, they would go to Abu Abdullah and say, "Abu Abdullah, oh uncle, give us permission to go." Uncle would say no. And when all of Muslims' children had perished, Lady Zainab looked around and she saw On and Muhammad and said, "On and Muhammad, are you still here? Have you not given your life yet for Abu Abdullah?" And they began to cry. They said, "Mother, every time we go towards Abu Abdullah, he says that we can't go. What do you want us to do? We can't go." She turns around and says, "Call your uncle Abbas." Abu al-Fadl Abbas was the one who trained On and Muhammad. says, Abbas, go tell Abu Abdullah that Zainab has said that she wants to send her kids. Abu Abdullah begins to cry and hugs on and Muhammad for the last time and sends them out to battle. And when he sends them out to battle, just before they go, Lady Zainab says, do not drink from the Euphrates river, because you know Sakina, you know Ali al-Asghar, they have not got any water with them. Do not go out, they have got no any water, do not drink from there. You find an Aun and Muhammad go out, and eventually Aun is struck down and Muhammad protects him and Muhammad is struck down. And you find they say, Assalamu alayka ya Aba Abdullah. Abu Abdullah comes out and collects the bodies of Aun and Muhammad and puts the bodies, all the ladies come out. All the ladies come out to see the bodies of Aun and Muhammad. Abu Abdullah looks to the left and looks to the right and says, oh Zainab, where are you? Oh Zainab, where are you? Why have you not come to mourn for Aun and Muhammad? And they say Lady Zainab comes out but she doesn't cry. And when she cries, she says, oh Aun and Muhammad, you are gone, but your death does not trouble me. But I want to know, who can I give now as sacrifice for the life of Abu Abdullah? Who will protect Abu Abdullah? And they say that the people who write the Muharram, the historians who write, they turn around and say, do you know what they say? They turn around and say that Lady Zainab, she did not cry for Aun and Muhammad when they died. She did not cry for Aun and Muhammad in Kufa. She did not cry for Aun and Muhammad in Sham. When she got back to Medina, she went to the grave of Sayyidah Fatima az-Zahra and she cried on that grave, not for Aun and Muhammad, for Abu Abdullah. She went upon that grave and began to say to her mother, oh my mother, they butchered Abu Abdullah on the ground, and his body was a bed of arrows. There was blood everywhere, and they left the body of Abu Abdullah on the ground for 3 days and 3 nights. They trampled on the body of Abu Abdullah. She cried in the grave of her mother. And when she got home, you find Abdullah was blind, he could not see, that's why he was not there. And Abdullah said that people have told me, Zainab, that you did not cry for Aun and Muhammad. And Lady Zainab began to cry and said, how can I cry for Aun and Muhammad when I could cry for Ali al-Akbar? How can I cry for Aun and Muhammad when I was crying for Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas? How can I cry for Aun and Muhammad when they were hitting the head of Abu Abdullah and throwing it on the ground? How can I cry for Aun and Muhammad when Sakina was on fire rolling on the ground in Karbala? And they say when Lady Zainab went, she went to the room of Aun and Muhammad and she smelled the blankets of Aun and Muhammad and began to cry and said, oh Aun and Muhammad, please forgive me that I did not cry for you. How could I have cried when everyone has been slaughtered? Now I've come back to Medina, I cry for you, Aun and Muhammad, my beautiful. على لعنة الله على القوم الظالمين.